Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is 1917, a war film from 2019. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to stream on Showtime or to rent or buy on all of the major streaming services. Go check it out and come back to the podcast because this is Screen Riot.
Welcome back to another episode of Screen Riot. I'm Justin, and I'm joined with co-hosts Eddie, Kyle, and John. And like John's introduction, today we are taking a look at a war film from 1917. Sorry, we're looking at 1917 from 2019.
Well, I mean,
that is a tongue twister.
I mean, the movie did take place in 1917, so
you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, technically that is correct.
I want to point out, John picked this movie, not Kyle. It would be the other way around had Kyle picked it.
that's right. A film from 1917
Talking about 2019.
about a movie, yeah,
It's
in
called
2019.
Metropolis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What is 1917 about? So during World War I, two British soldiers, Lance Corporals Schofield, played by George MacKay, and Blake, played by Dean Charles Chapman, are tasked to deliver an urgent message across enemy territory that could potentially save 1,600 of their fellow soldiers, including Blake's very own brother.
Yeah.
And craziness ensues.
Don't you mean Tomlin? King Tomlin?
So, yeah, actually, I didn't realize it until, this is probably the third time I've seen this movie. Third or fourth. I didn't even realize that was Tommen from Game of Thrones.
I know, right?
He's grown up, I guess.
Yeah. Put on some
did
pounds.
you know that?
I'm trying to remember which one. Which person?
Lieutenant Corporal Blake. Yeah. Or Lance Corporal Blake.
The brother.
The brother.
Yeah, but who's Tommen?
Tommen, he was the young king. Tommen Baratheon.
Jumped out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, that's him.
That's crazy.
Well, also, his brother,
Yeah.
Joffrey?
Blake, I guess.
Oh, no, he's Stark. He's Rob Stark.
He's Rob Stark.
Yeah.
Okay, I
In
did
Game of Thrones.
recognize Robb Stark, but I
Yeah.
didn't recognize Tommen. Yeah,
Tommen. Yeah.
Tommen, yeah.
Tommen. Yeah.
Yeah, Richard,
Tommen, yeah.
Richard Madden is the actor's name, that Rob Stark.
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize that until this viewing.
Yeah. I've all but purged Game of Thrones out of my mind. So
Yeah.
season 8 debacle.
You know what? I
It was-
still like it.
It was the best season, Eddie.
No, you.
But that's for another podcast.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going back and rewatching it sometime.
Especially season 1. Especially season 1.
Why?
No reason. Daenerys and
Oh.
Dothraki.
You start from season 1.
That's when you restart the series, you have to start from season 1.
That's how numbers work.
Yeah. That's how series works.
So,
jeez.
1917 is 1 hour and 59 minutes long. It's rated R and was written and directed by Sam Mendes. So if you're not familiar with Sam Mendes, you've probably seen his work. He did Cabaret 1993, directed American Beauty 1999, Road to Perdition 2002, Jarhead 2005, Revolutionary Road 2008, Skyfall 2012, this one 1917. And he has a new movie coming out that's in pre-production right now. It's called Empire of Light. I don't know too much about that, though.
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be released in 2022 is what it's slated to right now.
Gotcha.
Ooh, and he's working on Penny Dreadful City of Angels.
Yes,
TV
yeah, he also
series.
works on some TV series stuff.
I really like, but hey, he produced Penny Dreadful, which I really liked, and now there's another one coming out. I can't wait for that. That's
Actually,
pretty
speaking of news, right before we met, I just got a word. Well, not like I know anybody in the industry, but I just got a push notification.
But before we met, like 20 years ago, before we met.
No,
or?
no, like before we met to start recording this.
Oh, okay. Before we gathered for this recording.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
On Wednesday, that they're shooting Indiana Jones 5.
Yes.
And Harrison Ford was injured
Yes.
on set.
Was he?
So they're continuing to shoot around it, but they don't know how long it's going to take for his shoulder to heal. Apparently he was injured in a choreographed fight scene.
Well, it's bound to happen.
He's like 80 years old. So
yeah, with an ancient old dude, you know.
They should just shoot Indiana Jones 5 and just end it right there.
Well,
You mean just shoot him?
Just shoot it and be done.
Shoot him out the pasture.
It's a dun 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 dun, dun. Credits. That's all it takes.
Oh, the irony.
If he dies, he dies.
Let's Drago his ass. That's what we need to do right now.
No. I'm such a huge Indiana Jones fan. I'm excited to see it, just to see what they do. Even though it probably won't be good.
I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan as well, which is why I want them to stop.
It can only go up from the crystal
Skull.
skull
I don't know.
crap.
It can be worse than that.
Yeah, that's what they said about Star Wars.
It could be
with,
Bill and Ted.
Ooh.
It's a great call.
Don't say it. Ain't no.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? I'm not even going to go down the Crystal Skull Avenue or the Star Wars Avenue. I'm not going to go. He's got a point. It's going to be Bill and Ted.
All they need to do is just put his arm in a sling and then just give him a pistol and shoot his way out.
Indiana Jones.
He did that in Raiders.
Excellent
so
adventure.
We're good to go.
Jesus.
That's true. Yeah.
Indiana's Excellent Adventure. That's a horrible, horrible thought.
So let's
Like,
talk about.
he got in the refrigerator instead of the phone booth in the last film.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
1917?
Yeah, 1917. So 1917 was in the 2020 Oscars.
Yes.
It did really well. So it was nominated for Best Screenplay, Best Makeup, Best Production Design, Music, Sound Editing, and Best Picture. So it was nominated for 6. So the one that won in 2020 was Parasite.
Right, for Best Picture.
For Best Picture.
Right.
Some of the other ones that it was up against was Ford versus Ferrari, which is a pretty decent movie.
It is.
The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, which was actually my favorite of the year. Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and of course Parasite. So yeah. So it did win 3,
Yes.
though.
Mm-hmm.
So it won Best Visual Effects, Sound Mixing, and my boy Roger Deakins won Cinematography for this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Awesome.
which I'm super excited about. So the other movies that were nominated were The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse,
Yeah.
and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, 1917's far
Far
superior.
better. Yeah, far better than all those. Yeah.
Joker was decent. I
It was
think
okay.
Joker was up there. I mean, I wouldn't say it was.
It was a joke compared to this.
Nah.
I wouldn't go that far. Nah, yeah.
Okay.
Where's the
Doesn't even get the
soundboard?
joke. Doesn't
No.
even get the joke.
The
No, yeah.
this film actually had 199 nominations total, like throughout all of film festivals that it was entered in, and all that kind of stuff. BAFTA. And,
Yeah.
'cause
You know how
everything-
many awards Roger Deakins won for just this movie?
No.
48.
Holy cow!
Nice.
What?
Just for his work on this movie.
I mean, he won 48 out of the 133 wins.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, true then. Yeah.
For this movie, because
Almost,
that's
yeah.
how many it won.
Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with Roger Deakins' work, I'll just hit up some of his, his hits, right? So he works a lot with the Coen brothers. So you have like Barton Fink, the Hudsucker Proxy. I guess maybe that's not a hit, but
Nah.
eh.
Hudsucker Proxy was good though.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well
It's
shot.
for the kids.
It's for the kids. Is that on anybody's list?
If you don't know that, go watch the movie.
Yeah, no, it's not on anybody's list because it's not that good. Like it's good, but it's not list where it doesn't belong on the list.
I will say when
I'll
we
put
were,
it on my list then.
Of course you will.
I will say when we were younger, yeah, that deserves to go on your list. Justin was like, "You gotta watch this movie.
I still
You gotta
enjoy
watch
the
this
movie.
movie."
I still like the movie.
It's a
It's a fun movie.
Tim Robbins does a good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Shawshank Redemption, Fargo, Kundun, The Big Lebowski, O Brother Where Art Thou, A Beautiful Mind, Jarhead, No Country for Old Men, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, which looks fantastic, even though the movie is kind of
Yeah.
Doubt, True Grit, Skyfall, Sicario, Blade Runner 2049.
So all the movies.
Well, he just named off like probably 12 movies that I really, really like.
Yeah.
Like I can watch Jarhead. It's not an amazing movie, but I can watch it over and over and be fine.
Yeah,
Like
and-
I've seen it no less than probably 30 times.
This is probably
Wow.
a quarter of his entire career, I would
List,
say.
yeah.
He's got like 75, 80 movies to his credits. To
Yep.
his credit, right? So this guy, who I think is amazing, out of all these movies that I named, how many Oscars do you think he's won?
Ooh.
1.
25.
I'm gonna say 1.
2.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why didn't you? Yeah, I was about to say. I said 1. Why didn't you just go 2?
Well, no, because I didn't. I wanted to be right, but I would. But that's why.
You know what? I appreciate your honesty. Let's move on. Justin, go ahead.
And it's just recently.
Yeah.
Right. So all these other movies, he's been nominated 12 times.
Wow.
Was it for Sicario?
Sicario
it
is
was
really good.
Sicario is a super fantastic movie. No, it was for 2017, right? Because he won this for this movie that we're talking.
1917.
You mean 1917?
Sorry.
Look, the fact that it's named a year is going to continuously screw us up. I get it.
I know.
So, go ahead.
1917, he won for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, the movie we're talking about. But he also won for Blade Runner 2049, which was in 2017.
I didn't like.
I haven't seen it yet, to be honest.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I did
It was
enjoy it.
it was okay.
I mean,
But
it looked cool.
and this will
It shot-
probably
it was shot well.
This will probably get me kicked off the show, but I didn't really enjoy the original Blade Runner either. So
Okay. So the original Blade Runner it's a cult classic for a reason, because it's not a fantastic movie. It's slow. There's only a couple of moments where there is any action happening. Like it's definitely an acquired taste. Blade Runner 2049 was a weird, like almost like an attempt to remake that movie while not remaking that movie. And it's like they took a fraction of it and they were like, oh, we can make this, but let's make it different. And I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't really act like a sequel, even though it's supposed to be a sequel. You know what I'm saying? They got away from the story too much.
But anyway, I'm just glad this guy's finally getting the credit that he deserves.
What does he do with this? What was he involved with this? Like
he's a cinematographer.
He's okay
for 1917. Yeah, but he's been nominated, like I said, 12 times.
Yeah.
His first nomination was Shawshank Redemption from 1994.
Strong movie.
So he didn't win for that. So he didn't win up until 2017.
Speaking of Shawshank, my wife was watching it the other day. It was on AMC or something, and she kept making me pause it, like when she got up to to use the restroom or get something to eat or whatever. And I'm like, why are you pausing? I'm like, you've seen this? She goes, no, I've never seen it. I'm like, what are you talking about? You've never seen it? She goes, no, I've never seen it. And the only reason I'm watching it is because you told me like 2 or 3 weeks ago that I need to watch it. I'm like, so you told me already, and I'm still living here, that you didn't watch Shawshank? And she's like, yes. So she thoroughly enjoyed it. She was vested.
If you can't enjoy Shawshank Redemption, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. It's just the story is simultaneously sad and funny and all these other things.
It was great at the end there where Morgan Freeman's walking down the beach and she goes, oh, he lost his hat. And then she goes, oh, he found his friend. She doesn't get emotional at all.
Right.
But she kind of got emotional there.
Well, Shawshank Redemption to me is proof that the only good Stephen King adaptations are his short stories. Every novel that they try to do, I'm like, ugh, it's just utter shit. He just doesn't know when to stop. But his short stories make great film adaptations. Shawshank
Stand by
Redemption,
Me.
Stand by Me. Yeah, his short stories are great as movies.
Yeah.
So
So speaking of 1917,
No, you don't like that?
it's a damn novel too, by the way. Not good. Yeah, go ahead. Speaking of 1917, finally.
Yeah, let's go back to 1917, shall we?
let's jump in the Wayback Machine.
Hey guys, let's go back to 1917.
Okay.
Not 2019.
Right. So I want to get this out in the front open because I told a couple people that I was watching 1917 for the show, and they all asked me the same question. Is it a true story?
It kind of is, yeah.
So I kind of looked it up a little bit. So it's loosely based on the director, Sam Mendes's grandfather, who was 17 years old in 1916. He was a messenger he basically ran around no man's land to get through different fronts for the British. The reason he was chosen, I found kind of interesting, was because he was short. Because he was 5'4".
Wow.
That's a short dude.
Yeah, it's 2 inches shorter than you, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's short.
Yeah, so he was...
See, I'm fat. I would have been a good messenger. I'd have been the target. You'd have put me up on a ladder.
Germans would be smoking the cigarettes and be like, what are
they doing?
What are the British doing? Is this a trap? Like,
it's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Well, the reason that messengers tended to be shorter was because of the winter fog that would come up over no man's land, and the smoke and everything kind of hovered around 6 feet.
Wow.
So they were able to kind of skedaddle through without being detected a little bit easier.
Oh shucks, we got to stay in the trenches, Kyle. Oh no, stay safe.
They don't dig those trenches deep enough for me.
That's true too. Yeah.
And apparently, his name was Alfred.
Yes.
But apparently, he was a messenger for 2 years, running through no man's land. And apparently, after the war, he was in the mud, the trenches, and all that stuff so often that he developed kind of like an OCD habit with constantly washing his hands throughout the remainder of his life.
I
Jesus,
bet.
that's crazy. Yeah.
So-
Well, Sam Mendes puts that thing right before the credits. It's like, dedicated to Alfred Mendez for telling us the stories.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so it's at least part of this is based on a true story.
Yeah, and the interview I saw with Sam Mendes said that Alfred never talked about anything with the war up until he got into like his 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Then he started telling the kids and the grandchildren some more stories and stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, for those guys that are in those trenches, shell shock, or as known as today, PTSD,
Right.
like they were messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the, what do they call it? Not the war to end all wars, but it was like the first
Great War.
the Great War, the first war that actually had like modern technology in it. That, I mean, it was like something that nobody has seen before.
Right. Yeah, it was used with chemical warfare and planes and all kinds of
something that
stuff.
was just far beyond like the Civil War where they all lined up and shot at each other.
Yeah.
This is totally different.
We see that one soldier towards the end who has shell shock. We see MacKay, the actor, I'm trying to think of his name, Schofield, running through trying to get to the captain or whatever, and he comes across that soldier who's like crying, that captain who's crying.
Yeah.
And it's shell shock there, so obviously the director was wanting to put in, this was an issue back in the day too. It was just undiagnosed as shell shock.
To go back to the cinematography of this, I don't know if you guys have watched any of like behind the scenes of this movie at all, but the way they've shot things, there were times where they would be on a Steadicam and then they would actually unlatch the camera from the Steadicam and hook it up to a zip line, all in one move.
Yeah.
And so the shortest shot in this movie was 39 seconds long. The longest continuous shot was 8.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
The editing is done though.
8.5 minutes long of one shot.
Yeah, but it looks like the whole movie looks like it's one continuous shot, and they
which
did
is
a
super-
really good job of
Yeah,
that.
they did a really good job with this.
A lot of natural transitions and shit.
yeah.
So
Yeah, there
that
was an
helped.
interview that I saw with Deakins that says there was 48 edits.
That's it.
That's insane.
Wow. Well,
There's more edits in a commercial, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
and that really helped bring the realism to it.
Yeah.
You didn't have any awkward angles. I mean, you had awkward angles, but they were awkward angles that you're following these two men.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if I'm walking beside them, I would be looking at them at this angle.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not, there's no cuts, between conversations and stuff like that. It's like you're there with them. You're not watching them.
Yeah. And speaking of that, something I noticed on this third or fourth rewatch of this, the camera from beginning to end is constantly moving forward. There's only one shot that I can remember that it even goes in reverse. And that's when Schofield is in
That town. Yeah.
And he sees the burning building, and he sees that German soldier come up from the shadows. The camera stops,
Right.
and then it starts reversing as...
Yeah, but there's quite a few reverse shots. The opening shot where where Schofield and Blake get tapped, or Blake technically gets tapped.
Right.
They're doing a reverse shot all the way through that whole
Right,
thing.
but I mean...
But it's leading them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
Okay.
Because
Well, I
we're
thought that-
going to
yeah.
the destination. We're not retreating from
Right,
it.
that's what I was talking about.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
Because I thought it was cool that the camera was actually... the movie reminded me of playing a video game, in a way. Because you're always like at that third-person view of these two characters.
First
and
person
then,
or nothing for me.
well, but it's like when you were talking about the retreating scene, like when he saw the German soldier like chasing after him. It's almost like you were also retreating too. You were running away.
Yeah, it's very... Yeah, the point of view that they give from this whole one continuous shot feel is, like John said, like it's like you're super in the movie.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that
Yeah.
about this.
So did I. Yeah, I thought it was. Personally, I thought that it gave us a way to follow along with these two characters without I mean, without kind of break, because typically what they'll try to do is they'll break to another piece to be like, okay, well, here's what was happening while this was happening,
Right.
and you end up with all this extra, story that in this case is not really necessary. It's two guys going from one place to another. They're delivering a message. Stay with them. You know what I mean? It's why break?
Yeah.
And the way it's written, it's written in like I'm telling you a story.
Yeah.
Like I am telling you about these two guys who I was with.
Yeah.
And we're following them along as I remember.
Yeah.
As I remember this happening. So as the events happen, you could just hear somebody narrating it. Oh, and then I stuck my hand, and then Sko stuck his hand in a dead body.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
That really creeped me out, especially since he just cut it.
Oh, yeah.
And then he just shoved it. I was like, oh gosh, no, the bacteria infections.
And the realization on his face, when he did it, he's like, yo.
It's like
the first time I saw the movie, I thought like something was going to happen. His hand was going to get infected.
I was like, okay, so he dies at the end of this.
Yeah,
that's where I was at.
Yeah. After all of this that he goes through, he
has to get his hand chopped off.
Yeah, amputation right there in the end.
Yeah, I thought that was going to happen, but no, they don't really bring it back, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a good. I love this movie. It's such a good movie. One thing I did want to mention too, talking about realism stuff, was the German retreat that really happened.
Oh yeah,
that tactical retreat. It was actually called Operation Albrecht. And they really did like go all the way back to what was called the old Hindenburg Line. Not really sure where that is or whatever. But they did like leave, devastation where they went. They killed cows, they bombed houses or blew up houses,
blew up their own artillery.
Yeah, blew up their own. Yeah, sabotaged their own artillery, booby trapped, corridors and stuff like that, and all that.
Then basically just left a couple of people behind. Or they just decided to stay behind and be like, you can stay behind and pick a couple of people off, but you're going to die when, the British come.
Yeah.
Like, just to let you know.
Yeah, you're talking about in Eustace, or what was the town called? Not Eustace.
I don't know. It's some French town.
Yeah.
Acoust.
Yeah.
The tripwire in the original, like, I don't know what to call it, bunker.
The bunker,
yeah. I thought that was a great scene.
That was a fantastic scene.
That was shot well. It was exciting, you know what I mean, and at the same time shocking what was happening, and the way that the camera sort of jumps. I think John's watched Bushwick. It's a movie that I like, that they do this one continuous shot thing as well, and I don't know, I always find it, I like that movie, but there are some very interesting artistic camera angles that they choose that don't exactly help the movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple times whenever, for whatever reason, the top of Dave Bautista's head is cut off, and you're like, but why? This movie didn't do that, and I mean that in a positive way. You know what I mean? Like, I think they made a lot of really smart choices on it. So,
well, they rehearsed this movie for 6 months leading up to production.
Jesus,
with the actors. They went through
walking through all the shots,
the entire thing as the sets were being built around them and all.
Oh, that makes sense.
In order to get the camera moves and all that.
Yeah, it makes sense if you're like, hey, we're going to do this in one shot, guys.
8.5 minute shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to get everything right.
What shot was that? Do you know?
Did
they list it?
The trench has got to be when he's going through the trench at the end. That's got to be like an 8-minute shot.
Yeah,
I gotta say, yeah, it's got to be the one where they're walking through no man's land / remember when they actually get through. I think it's all the way from when they go over the trench to the bunker.
Okay.
That might be a whole one scene, because I know that one scene where they go into this huge hole that's got water all in it, and that's where they actually put the camera on a zip line or something like that, and actually go underneath, or they go right on top of the water.
Yeah, I was wondering. I'm
really
like,
cool.
Is that in a boat, or is that? I didn't know how they were
crane.
Were doing.
It was a zip line. It was an actual line, kind of like what you see at NFL stadiums and such, where they hooked it up onto 2 pairs of cables, and then they were actually able to control those cables and dip it down into this hole.
Well, I know there is an edit there right after that scene.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think what I'm talking about.
It's the natural transition on the rock.
With the rock.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was an edit there.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is the end shot. Whenever he comes to whatever the name of that place is,
the front.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the town.
not Yakutsk. No. Whenever he gets through Yakutsk,
Yeah.
and he gets to the next front line.
Oh,
right.
Right.
And when he goes into the trench, I mean, he's it's a group of people, following along. You're following him along as he makes his way through. He meets like one colonel. He meets another lieutenant. He's meeting all these different people. That shot, I didn't see anywhere that they could have made a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
possible.
it's constantly on him the whole time.
Even after he goes over the
edge,
he's still because I think I saw the behind the scenes of this where they follow him and then one of the reasons he doesn't just start running right there is because they had to put on a Jeep.
Yeah.
On a Jeep,
It's on a Jeep, yeah.
Yeah, because he's hauling ass. I mean, I get it. Yeah. So I think that's that's just my guess. But I mean,
you're probably right.
Seems like a very, very long shot at the end.
Yeah.
You know what's also crazy is this was shot narratively. Like, so typically, movies are shot, out of order, based on location, based on actor availability, all that kind of stuff. But this was shot in order of narrative.
Well, it had to be.
So, yeah.
The actual shot was actually the one where he's in the town and they're shooting the flares.
Oh, okay.
Because in order for them to cut it well, they were actually shooting flares or like pretending to shoot flares or whatnot and creating that big light.
Yep.
And if you were to cut the
lighting
angles,
would be off.
the angles would be off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they had to actually create one shot through that whole
Gotcha.
city or that whole flare scene just
That makes
so
sense.
I didn't realize that was 8 minutes. I knew it was long, but I didn't realize it was 8 minutes.
That whole if I'm going to complain about something, Yakutsk
That
bored
sequence.
the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very bored during that scene.
Oh, is it when he went down to the
cellar? Okay, so the cellar.
the cellar scene was I liked it.
I didn't hate it. It just was. It felt long. This movie was 10 minutes long, longer than it needed to be, and that's my only complaint.
I'm
10
with you,
minutes,
yeah.
right? 2 minutes here, 2 minutes here, just a little bit of tweaking, and it would be flawless. I mean, there's almost nothing to complain about. I mean, it's a solid movie, but it feels about 10 minutes long, and it's mostly in Yakutsk. It just lost me.
I kind of feel there's probably a little bit too much running around the city.
Yeah.
Cool lighting. It's interesting. Something we've never seen on film before that I have anyway.
Yeah.
It's cool how they did it, but a little bit too long. And yeah, the whole scene in the cellar with the woman and the baby, little long.
I mean, I think it's necessary. I think it was a good scene.
It is,
but they reveled in it just a hair too long. I found myself wanting to fast forward, and I'm like, don't do it.
The baby is Sam Mendes's newborn daughter, by the way.
That's cute.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sam Mendes. We'll never know you.
Yeah, right.
I think she was like a month or so old at the
Wow.
time.
Nice.
Um,
Getting the IMDb credits in early.
Right.
It's true. Actually.
It's like I started in 1970. Oh, how old were you? 2 months old.
Jesus.
I've literally been doing this my entire life.
Right?
Yeah.
Literally my entire life.
That woman giving birth like that was Sam Mendes.
Jesus.
Anyway.
No. So one thing I noticed on this rewatch was when she asks him, do you have any children? He doesn't answer.
Nope. Yeah.
But we later find out towards the end when he looks at a photograph, it's of him, his wife, and their kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I guess I never really looked at what the photograph was.
Well, it wasn't
the
covered in
end,
blood. I thought that he was pulling out the picture of Blake. I mean, and
No, because
his family.
he left that with
Yeah.
Blake.
That's exactly where I went. I was like, no, wait, it can't be that one because he put it in his jacket.
Right.
So this is his family. Okay.
Yeah.
I just
So a little detail that I'd never really noticed until after this third rewatch, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the scene that with the French girl and the baby, and the baby wasn't even hers,
Right.
I think
It was
that
Sam
was
Mendes's.
well, obviously.
No, but he means
Thank you.
Jesus.
Spoiler alert.
The
never
fact
worked
that
out.
both of us, by the way, were like, no, Justin. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Appreciate that little
jackass.
tidbit there.
Yeah.
I looked at it. I looked at it a little bit deeper
Mm-hmm.
because when he was grabbing that milk from that's when his friend died,
Yes.
and the friend
So a cycle of life.
yeah, cycle of life thing. So it's like, oh well, I had to watch my friend die, and when I got this milk, now I'm able to give this milk to somebody who's just starting their life.
That's an interesting point of view about it because there's a lot of that kind of theme that runs through this.
Yes.
Or my friend saved me, or actually saved my life in the bunker or whatever. Now I'm able to save this life.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, because the whole story bookends with Schofield sitting under the tree You know, then he starts his journey, and then he ends, you know, sitting
Under
under
the
the tree.
tree,
yeah.
You know, and the other thing that I didn't notice until this rewatch was Blake. He starts under the tree. He's lying down on his back, facing the sky.
Oh.
He dies
Lying down,
facing the sky.
So one thing, talking about the milk.
Yeah.
I had two issues with the milk scene, right?
Which one?
Leon, the professional.
No.
Oh.
No, with the baby,
Okay.
whenever he's giving it to the baby. So I was like, okay, well that was opportune. Like, good thing he found milk on the fucking way there. Second thing, did you guys notice that he unpacked his backpack with a shit ton of food? And the whole time that he's walking with Blakely, they're talking about how hungry they are, and he never once offered Blakely. He offered him a little tiny piece of bread. They shared a piece of bread.
Well,
Meanwhile,
that was before they made the journey.
no,
Right.
you're right. But all that food was not given to them.
It was.
No,
was.
they said here's some treats.
They gave him some treats. He unpacked a shit ton of stuff from that backpack.
But are you sure it was food?
Yeah, no, he's offering it to the woman. He's like, "Here, take all this." She's like,
Oh, that's
"He's
right,
like,
yeah.
she's like, it's a baby. He can't eat. She's not gonna eat this."
And I thought that was the treats. It was like, here's some treats.
He gave him like a tin of something, not 10 things. I mean, I looked at that scene and I was like, interesting. So I wonder if he's feeling guilt for like not giving Blake food. Like, I mean, kind of weird that he didn't share his food with his buddy. You know,
Maybe.
But,
I'd have to go back and watch that again.
yeah, I could
because-
be wrong, but it definitely looked off to me. I was like, well, that sucks. Like,
I think it was just insinuated that, you know, when the guy was saying, "All right, here's some grenades, here's some extra ammo, here's some extra supplies," but that's when they got the food for the journey.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I mean, again, I didn't see him pack everything in that backpack on the top, but
But
I
I
could be
will
wrong.
say that's a shit ton of food.
It was.
Here's your
For one
treats.
night?
Yeah, for one. for you got to get there by morning. Well, okay,
I guess-
then
I guess
why
if
am I going to
you-
weigh myself down?
Yeah, I guess if you think about this, is, you know, the guys are like, this is kind of a suicide mission. So if you make it, cool. If you don't, well, at least you have some supplies to make it through.
See, I looked at. I think it's different. I think that these guys are collecting whatever they can find all the time, and he's storing it like a pack rat because God knows when he might eat again.
Well,
I mean,
remember-
they didn't feed them at the beginning.
When they go to the farmhouse,
Yeah.
Schofield is inside.
And saying, "Did you find
Did
any
you find
food?"
any food? And the guy says no.
And he's
He
got a
says, "Me
backpack
either."
full of food.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. He's got a shit ton of food in that top
don't know.
pack, and he
Interesting.
doesn't offer it to Blake, and then Blake gets killed like 2 seconds later by the German,
Well,
the German,
Well, you know,
with a
there,
knife in the gut.
which was shitty, by the way.
there is
Yeah.
some truth in the whole treat thing. I found this, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So during World War One, so battle rations included a 2.5 fluid ounces of alcohol for the British.
2.5 ounces.
2.5 fluid ounces. Yes.
Okay, that's a shot.
Yeah, one of the larger shots. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike got a shot.
A day.
Oh, a day.
A day.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's
Oh.
what that's what you're allowed a day.
Takes the edge off, I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah.
you save them up for a week, and you got get for sticking.
Yeah, you could.
Let's get blitzed for a few hours.
Let's get
Get for snicked.
Let's get
my
blitzkrieg.
gosh.
Oh.
So soldiers behind the lines got it twice a week. So I'm sorry, it's not a day. It's twice a week.
Oh,
Oh.
dang. Well, there goes my weekend parties.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Those on the front lines got it daily.
Oh, okay.
Look at this.
And well, you might want to be one of the guys that went over the top.
They got it hourly.
They got double rations daily.
Wow. The guys who actually went
To no man's land.
No man's land?
Yeah.
Wow.
They got
Interesting.
5 ounces a day.
I feel like they're just like, get Hiccup. Who? Get over the edge real fast, Hiccup. Like, Jesus Christ.
Needed some liquid courage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess that was kind of the same in like Chernobyl, right? Where they just offer the people vodka.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, if you work in here, you get 2 bottles of vodka. And like, okay.
Well, that was also sort of propaganda too, because I told them it would
Yes.
keep them healthy. Or,
Yeah, keep the radiation
keep them safe from radiation.
away from you or
No,
something.
they're all just like Foster Brooks. Going over the going. I'm going
Over the
wall.
Over the wall.
I don't want to interrupt you. Are you
No,
about to go to
no.
something else? I was going to say, I like how they. Okay, so Mark Strong makes an appearance. Colin Firth makes an
I
appearance.
really like Mark
Yeah.
Strong.
I do too. Benedict Cumberbatch makes an appearance. I like that none of them were like, they didn't overshadow the main characters. I liked that. Mark Strong in particular, I think he makes like a nice little like, I'm a sane one. I'm going to make a little appearance and then I'm out. I like that. I like the
I
little
really liked
touches.
his character in this.
Yeah. I mean,
Really
for the
did.
4 seconds that he was on screen.
It was
but yeah,
fantastic.
I mean, no, I thought he did a good job. Yeah.
I mean, he's a British dude. and put him up in World War One British uniform. He looks like a badass.
Yeah.
He
Well,
does.
that's Mark Strong. Well, apparently him and Cumberbatch really wanted to be in this movie, but Sam Mendes only wanted them in this little tiny
piece,
bit
yeah.
part, and they had a stipulation that they could not promote it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that,
Okay.
that the two actors could not
Interesting.
go public about it until after the movie was released.
Huh.
Weird.
Yeah.
What did you say, Andrew Scott?
No.
No, because Andrew
Yeah.
Scott was in this.
I really liked him.
and he was
this
in
too.
he was in Sherlock. He was the bad guy.
Moriarty.
Yeah, he was Moriarty.
Yeah. But he was in this?
Yeah. He was the Lieutenant Leslie that actually blessed him with the alcohol.
that was
Oh, that was him. Holy shit.
God, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
He looked rough.
He
Yeah.
did look rough.
Like, yeah, he looked like he'd been ridden hard and put
Which
away
was-
wet, man.
which
Like, he
was
did not
great.
look good.
Looked like he has
What-
triple
what-
rations.
Well, he was
Yeah.
like third in command, and everybody else died. Like, great.
Yeah, he
do that.
got promoted by attrition.
Yeah, when he's blessing him, and then he turns around and he says something like, cheerio or something like that, and turns around and walks away. I was like, that guy is not.
What is it?
Feeling it.
We're gonna give you this flare. If you get shot, can you kindly toss it
back.
back over?
Yeah. Can you toss it backwards so that way we don't have to walk as far to grab
Yeah,
it?
I
Yeah.
thought that was yeah. He really made a mark for only being on screen for probably a total 2 minutes.
Couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
but
was-
all those
he was
guys were,
great.
were on there maybe 2 minutes. That's what I'm saying. Benedict Cumberbatch was on there like literally two and a half minutes long. I mean, I think he did a fine job. He didn't overact it. Was
Right.
what I liked. You know what I mean? Sometimes whenever they do those little cameos like that, they're like, "I'm Colin Firth.
I'm here."
They didn't do that. They just sort of were like, "Hey, we're kind of part of this world." Okay, I like it.
So there's a little nod that I enjoyed about this. I didn't realize it until I started doing some research in here. But when Schofield is running through Acoust and he runs in those two drunk Germans,
Yes.
you see that their names are Mueller and Balmer. Those are two characters from the 1930 anti-war movie All Quiet on the Western Front. Those are the two main character names. in there.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting because that movie, if you haven't seen it, it all focuses on World War One, the horrors of World War One, but from the German perspective. So it's almost like those two characters were
From
this movie.
Yeah, from
or,
that movie,
in
and
this
there.
movie,
This
yeah.
is the English side.
Right.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that was one of the first movies that did like a very, very accurate representation of what trench warfare was like.
Yeah.
And like all the bombings and shell shock and all that kind of stuff that happened.
Yeah,
That was a really good movie.
It's a really good movie. It's a little long. I think it's like 2.5 hours long. Or something like that.
It is
and
pretty
it's a little
long.
slow in the beginning.
Yeah.
but it's a good movie.
I do want to say, and we can, if you're ready to start rapping, we can. But I was going to say that I when I say this movie is 10 minutes long, longer than it needs to be, it's because I enjoyed 90% of it.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Like
Well,
literally, like most of the movie is a solid movie. There's just a couple of points where you're like, okay, dude, you're lagging. Like they needed to just edit themselves just a tiny bit more, and it was. I mean, like I said, they
to
did
me, I
a
think
great job.
the calming spots was enough for me to lower my heart rate.
No, I agree with you. But the calming, there were parts where it went into those calming spots, and
Yeah.
then you're there just a couple of minutes longer than you needed to be.
Gotcha.
You know, just a few minutes, like just enough. Like when he wakes up after shooting the sniper, and he falls down the stairs. When he wakes up, it just seems to go and go and go. Like him.
Well,
but
kind of
damn,
coming out of
that-
a concussion.
I know, but it just seemed to take a really long time.
But
to,
damn that camera shot though.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
No, listen,
Holy crap.
like I'm saying, great job.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute too long. You know what I'm saying? Just 1 minute. Like
Yeah,
just 1 minute would have made a huge difference in that scene for me.
One of my favorite scenes in this movie
Mm-hmm.
is when he gets through his journey and he finally reaches the soldiers of the 2nd Devons,
Yes.
the 2nd Division. And he's so tired that he just plops down in that tree and he listens to that guy singing.
singing.
Oh, yeah.
Like that guy's voice. Like I don't know what it is. It's the voice and the camera work and
Yeah.
just how quiet and still everybody is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
the
it hits you
song-
in the feels.
The song is called "I'm a Poor Wayfaring Stranger."
Right.
When that's I've heard that song before,
Hmm.
and it's like very, very emotional.
Yeah.
And then to see it in this movie, I'm like, holy crap, this is really emotional.
And you don't know really what emotion to hold on to during that scene either. It's like, okay, this is sad, but this is a little creepy too.
Yeah.
You know, and well, this is awesome. This is great. So it took me through several different
Yeah.
emotions, and I just could never settle on one. And by
Yeah.
by the time that I decided I can't settle on one, then they started talking to
And see,
Schofield.
For me, it was 30 seconds. 30 seconds too long of that song. Like just the
see,
singing.
I thought it was perfect.
Yeah. For me, it was just. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to
be
split hairs.
nitpicky.
Well, I'm not trying to be, but it was like I just found myself being like, okay, now move. Like it's it's time to go. And like it was soon after they did, but I mean it was just a couple of scenes like that. And it seemed to happen. It was definitely during the slow parts. The chase scene you're talking about through Yakutsk, I didn't have as much of a problem with that because there's something happening. But whenever they went into those troughs of time, whenever I found myself just being like, okay, cool, so it's slowing down. Oh, it's really slowing. Oh shit, it's really slowing down. I could fast forward. I could just fast forward. No, I shouldn't do that. Screen Riot. The guy will have an issue.
Yeah.
Who picked this again? Was it Kyle? No.
No.
Okay. I can definitely
have
shit
to,
on it then.
Yeah, no. I have to like this movie since Kyle didn't pick it. Now, I got to give a shout out to the composer, Thomas Newman.
Oh, yeah.
Great job.
Yep.
Damn.
Yes, good job.
Great score.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an awesome composer anyways. I mean, Wall-E, Skyfall, 1917.
Okay, Skyfall keeps coming up. Did you guys like Skyfall?
I really like Skyfall.
Yes.
Skyfall is my favorite of the Daniel Craig
Absolutely.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay.
Bonds.
I didn't like it as much. I thought it was okay.
You're not that Quantum of Solace type of guy, right?
No,
Okay.
that's the
Casino
worst.
Royale.
That's the worst. Casino Royale I like the most. Yeah, it's you're
That was
meeting the
pretty
new
decent.
Bond. Yeah, you're meeting the new Bond.
That's probably
there's
my
more,
second.
There's more
You-
exposition.
You like the ball busting in it, I know.
I like that too. Yeah.
I totally forgot
Oh,
about that
God,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
remember-
felt his pain.
Everyone's gonna know you died scratching my balls. Like,
Oh my god.
I remember watching that in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
and when that first knock hits, you hear every dude in the theater go, "Ooh."
Yeah. Yeah, let's
I'll never forget that.
No,
I had a
that's
different
pretty bad.
feeling. I was like, oh,
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the music in this was
it was
top
it was
notch.
definitely good, and it had the right amount of crescendos.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
They paced well.
Like there was one I don't really like when Hans Zimmer does this because it's almost
It's his style.
yeah, but it has that sense of time
Yeah.
type thing with the ticking and all that kind of stuff. That's and very deep things with Hans Zimmer. He really likes the bass notes. But when they were walking up to the German trench and how the music elevated, and I'm like, this could be packed full of Germans or nothing at all.
Right.
And then right when they drew their guns, the music just stopped.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
great.
did a good job of storytelling with the music as
Fantastic.
well. I agree. You want to talk budget?
Sure, yeah. So the budget for this film, kind of high for,
No.
Oh, really?
For a period piece where they went across almost an entire country
and they
walking?
built basically all of France.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they. I had the amount of trenches they've dug somewhere. Maybe I didn't write it down.
This was filmed in
it was a
Scotland,
lot.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, where it's empty. There's nobody there.
Well,
so-
actually, before they started shooting, where the field that they were going to shoot in, that they had to dig almost a mile. It was 5,200 feet of worth of trenches that they would traverse throughout this whole movie. And there's another thing that I saw that the field that they were shooting in, like you said, Scotland. I can't find it really quickly, but basically what happened is Archaeologist Society or something of Scotland was worried that they might disturb something historical that might have happened in that particular spot.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the government made the production halt until this archaeological society, go in and kind of do a quick comb over, see if they can find anything. And
We're combing the desert. That's all I can imagine now from Spaceballs. We ain't found shit.
yeah, yeah. Basically, till these archaeologists gave it the okay.
Yeah.
and
Wow.
then they started doing the whole construction,
So-
digging trenches and all, and
So
they
you
did not
said-
find anything.
So you said almost a mile, but not a mile.
It was 5,200 feet,
but not a mile.
not quite a mile.
Nah, it's not as impressive.
Well, I mean, you can't CGI the trenches
26 feet.
Now,
or
did they do it
whatever?
authentically? Did they do it by hand?
No.
Or did they do it by machine?
with the
No, they
with
did
the
it with
small
a-
shovels.
With a
That's going to
backflip.
drastically change my score now.
Quitters
Oh,
never
yeah.
win. That's all I'm going to say.
Eddie was going to give it like a 9.5. Now he's going to give
Nope.
it a 2.
Yeah.
Now they use actual bulldozers from 2019.
Would I give Hidden Figures? Less than that. Jesus.
Yeah.
So with the budget, it
Yes.
is a high budget. Of
$180 million.
around 95 million.
Oh, wow.
So it's not breaking 100 yet. It's
Yeah.
almost there. So with the budget being 95 million, do you think it made its money back?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of Scottish extras, by the way, is how they save that money.
Yeah. So I don't know how true this is, but it seems a little odd. I mean, I don't think it's too odd, but anyway, the opening weekend number kind of throws me off. $576,000 for, I think it was December 29th, 2019.
Okay.
Okay. It is a war movie.
It's not just that. I was going to say it's a really depressing war movie about World War One, right there at New Year's.
Yeah.
Not a good weekend to let a movie come out. Like, why would you? I wouldn't go see it. I didn't even want to see it.
I saw it
Did
on
you?
opening weekend, yeah.
Yeah, but you're a depressing kind of guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
No,
was
I-
right up my alley.
I saw it, and I think I saw it with you. No? Okay, I thought I saw it with you. Well, at least one time.
Probably.
Anyway.
Yes, yeah. After I saw it, I think you and I went and saw
Yeah.
it again, yeah. So this is my 4th time watching it, yeah.
wow.
So, you guys think that it made its money back?
I do.
Yeah.
For sure.
absolutely.
Had to have.
Oh, yeah. So, the gross worldwide for this movie was $384,600,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
So, yeah. Almost
Well deserved.
quadruple.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, yeah. Sam Mendes.
Heck yeah, yeah.
Awesome dude. So, so John, since this was your pick, go ahead and give it a rating.
I really, really liked it. It reminded me of poetry in a way, where it just flows. It has this life, all of its own. It just continuously ebbs and flows, and the story, like I said earlier, the story just being presented in a way that you're actually there. You're not a you're with these guys. You're not just watching them.
Yeah.
Really was impactful to me. And the acting, I think, is phenomenal. The higher ups, I enjoyed all the big actor cameos that didn't overpower the other two
Right.
lesser known actors. I'm gonna this is gonna be my highest score so far at a 9.5.
9.5.
Damn.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, I really enjoy this movie. There's very few movies that I go back and watch again in a theater, and I totally forgot that. Sorry, you and I had watched it too.
Yeah.
But the cinematography just blows me away every time I see this movie. The score, I typically don't really pay attention to the score, which is I guess kind of weird, but it's super good in this movie. I like all the little details, now that I've watched it 4 times, I've noticed something new every time that I've watched it now. Like I said earlier, I didn't realize that in the photo that he has at the end, he has a child, right? So it kind of, gives a little more perspective to the movie with all these little touches and all. Honestly, I think I'm going to give it a 9.5 too.
What does Rotten Tomatoes say?
Oh yeah, good call. Totally
Because
forgot. Totally forgot about the Rotten Tomatoes.
you usually write those down.
Yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score gives us an 88%, and
Wow.
the critic score an 89%.
Okay, so I think the critic score is bullshit in that regard, but I think
Yeah.
the audience score, that's probably right. I mean, this movie's not for everybody.
No.
I mean, if you're not into like war epics, you're not going to enjoy it. If you're not into kind of an arty way of filming, I mean, it's good. I'm not saying it's not, but it's very arty. I think we appreciate it because we like film.
Right.
So I mean, it's just not something that a conventional popcorn viewer type movie is gonna.
Right. Well, I mean, some of the things that keep it away from a perfect 10 score for me is we were talking about it feels a little long in parts.
Yep.
And really, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't really fault it for too much. Like, I even love the long trench scenes, like at the beginning, where they're just getting
Walking
from the
through the
tree
trenches,
to
yeah.
walking through the trenches, and they're just talking about bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But the way the choreography between all the extras and them, and they keep it interesting. They could have just think about it. They could have just had the camera in front of them the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But the camera moves around from following them to leading them probably 4 or 5 times, and you don't even realize it if you're just subconsciously watching this movie.
Yeah.
But they use like extras and interesting little things to tell the story along there too. Like you see telephone repair guys repairing the line. Mm-hmm. And then you find out, a couple minutes later that the corporal, whoever, sub-general, I don't know, military ranks, sub-general.
Sub-general? I thought you just misspoke and just said some general.
No,
Jesus.
sub-general. Deputy general.
Deputy sub-general, admiral, sir.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
whatever's lower.
Yeah.
He basically says, they cut off our telephone lines, so we can't communicate with them. So they have these nice little details, even just to make this more interesting. So I can't really fault it for much, except for some of the links of some of the scenes is all.
I hear you. So for me, I mean, the first time I've actually watched this movie, I've wanted to watch this movie, but
this was the first time?
yeah, it's the first time I've seen it, and which is really awkward. So this is the way you guys feel all the time. It's really interesting.
I've watched this movie like 35 times.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This
No.
is how you guys feel all the time.
But yeah.
No, I did like it. I think that what they did well was they took like the best parts of, and I know it's World War II versus World War One. Let me go ahead and qualify that now, but they took like the best parts of Saving Private Ryan, which were the beach scene,
Normandy scene.
Yeah, Normandy scene. You had the storming the hill and getting blah blah blah. They took those scenes and basically made a whole movie that does that scene, but for different things. So, you're following along with Tom Hanks as he goes up the beach. Well, they're like, well, what would a whole movie look like that? And instead of just going with him in this one scene, what if you were like on his shoulder for the whole movie? Mm-hmm. And they did it, and it looks good, and it's interesting, and it's done well. You know what I mean? So, I mean, everything we already said, the music, etc. For me, I would say that this movie is... I'm going to say an 8.7, which is my highest score thus far, and honestly, not hard to give. I mean, I think that's a very, very solid score for this movie, simply because a little bit long. I think that there's certain parts they could have done just slightly better, just slightly. But overall, I mean, well done. It's definitely one of the better movies we've seen.
Yeah,
so.
Kyle.
Yeah. So for me, I think this is the third time I've seen it.
Which is so weird for you, because I mean, you never rewatch movies, so.
Well, this one definitely. Well, it's. I watched it with you, Justin, in the theaters, and then I watched it again with like my dad because he really likes war movies and such.
Yep.
And then I watched it again for the show.
Fair enough.
Now, this movie is totally different from a whole lot of other war movies out there. War movies typically tend to fantasize about war. They kind of like make it all pretty and such. Now, Saving Private Ryan is an exception. It's a very nitty gritty, like real talk of what war is.
Fury's the same type of thing, like Saving Private
Kinda.
Ryan. Yeah,
but I
beats
mean,
up on it
typically
too.
it's all like shoot 'em up, bang bang. You have a hero that's never gets wounded, and they're clean at the very end of the movie.
Right.
This one in particular shows you everything that's bad about war. I mean, you can't trust anybody. Like, the guy was, I guess, one of the lieutenants or the corporals.
Yeah, Lance Corporal.
Yeah. He was trying to help the German pilot. Well, lack of communication, you're an enemy, type thing. I'm going to kill you because that's what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you see, like, humanity crumble at that point because, the British are just trying to, help civilians, and he's in danger or whatever, so he's trying to save his life, but then the German's like, no, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, and not to interrupt, but there's a great foreshadowing scene with the whole rat thing in Blake, because it scares him, and a little bit later, Blake tells Schofield, I should have killed that bloody rat. he should have killed that German.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
True.
so he didn't learn his lesson. You know, really.
Yeah. And it's actually pretty quick too. But I mean, I loved the realism of this movie. I liked how everything is not, flowers and rainbows in this. It is a very, very tough war and dirty war too. Obviously, we said it was shot well, which is, I mean, some of the best camera angles I've ever seen in a film, and the way they've shot this thing. The sound mixing was incredible with all the mud sounds and squishes and everything. I'm trying. There was one scene where we're following these guys, and the mud is so thick and wet. I'm thinking, okay, the camera crew is behind them.
Yeah.
Where are their footsteps? It's like they had to actually put these sound effects in later.
Oh, yeah,
All of them.
The Foley artists were on overdrive for this movie, yeah.
And they were fantastic. I mean, every single foot smash of the mud, and it's just, all that kind of crap. Was like, this is incredible.
I mean, that's why it won. What was it?
I think it was sound mixing. Or sound mixing design or sound design or something like that.
Yeah, sound mixing, yeah.
Yeah, but absolutely incredible. With that, I think I'm going to do a 9.6. I'll up you guys.
Okay, 9.6 for...
Because this is really good movie. Like, at the very end, I was speechless. I'm like, I don't know how we're going to be able to talk about, or I don't know how I'm going to be able to talk about this, just because everything about it is stunning to me.
Yeah. You're right. So 1917 gets a screenwrite score of 9.3, which that now moves it up to our top-rated movie.
I'm just going to say, I don't know what the hell's going to top that.
It's going to be difficult.
That's
gonna
an
be difficult.
insanely high score.
be hard.
I mean, I don't give movies above an 8.5, so this is it. I mean,
just did.
we could pretty much end it here if you guys want. Like, this is that's the best score it's going to get.
Yeah, so that
Not a
moves...
competition.
Just saying.
It does dethrone our top-rated, which was Arrival, at 8.4.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and,
So it's almost a full point.
yeah, I don't even think that's a competition between those two. I mean, Arrival's a good movie, but it wasn't this movie.
Yep.
I would rewatch that movie right now. Not Arrival, but 1917.
1917,
Yeah, I'd rewatch it right now. Like, I kind of want to.
Well, I know. I'm sitting here. I'm going. I might watch that tonight when I go home.
There's
yeah.
a part of me that kind of wants to. So, okay,
Cool. So, John,
The wheel resets our names.
Oh yeah.
okay, so all four of us are available.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, here we go. Eddie.
Oh shit! Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Genre, please.
So now let's spin for the genre.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my god.
Horror.
Ooh.
Okay. We're gonna go with Ghostland, or Incident in a Ghostland is the other title for it. Incident in a Ghostland from 2018. Do you want to read the synopsis? Or you want
Sure.
me to? Go ahead.
I'll do it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
A mother of two who inherits a house is confronted with murderous intruders on the first night in their new home and fights for her daughter's lives. 16 years later, when the daughters reunite at the house, things get really strange.
Yeah.
Sounds like I've seen it before.
Yeah,
Kind of sounds like The Strangers.
it does sound like The Stranger.
So when you watch it, keep that in mind.
Okay.
And see if you guys end up in the same spot.
Okay.
That's all I could say. It's it's a little odd. I'm going to tell you guys that this movie is simultaneously multiple different types of movies at one time.
Okay.
Of course.
So yeah, it's not. Well, I'm not going to go further than that.
Yeah.
It's just multiple different kinds of movies at once.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so thanks for listening to the show. If you want to follow along with us, go to justwatch.com, type in Incident at Ghostland. Is that what it was called?
No, Incident in a Ghostland or
Incident
original.
in a Ghostland.
Yes.
That's yeah. And then you can go there and find out everywhere that you can stream or rent it or purchase it and whatnot. Also, make sure you like and subscribe the show on your favorite podcasting platform, wherever you get your podcast. And we'd really appreciate it if you would go and give us a review. That would help other people know if they might like the same stuff you do and all that stuff, and it would help us out tremendously. So with that, Incident in a Ghostland is our next movie, and we'll see you then.
See ya.
Later.
See ya.